Good morning, everybody. Hey, it is John Lone King. It is Friday, the 24th of April. Looking forward to a great weekend. My wife and I are celebrating our 27th wedding anniversary today. So I'm going to finish this out, and then I'm going to have one appointment and head out for a nice weekend with my lovely wife. I want to dive right in. First and foremost, we're getting closer on the Dream for All results. We expect them sometime early May, so we have no information on when, but CalHFA hasn't reset that expectation. They told us early May, and I'm hopeful that we're going to see something in early May. If you are waiting on Dream for All, I'm going to have 3 webinars for each outcome. So if you got a voucher, or you'll get 1 or 3 different webinars to pick from. If you were not selected, you'll get 1 or 3 different webinars. And if you are on the wait list, you'll get 1 or 3 different webinars to hop onto and learn what to do next. Having said that, let's dive into this week's market update. So first of all, the biggest news kind of on an insider side of things is what's happening with the Fed. The new Kevin Warsh has been appointed by Trump to be the new chairman of the Federal Reserve. He's going through his confirmation hearings this week, and it was pretty ugly. There was a lot of back and forth, especially with Elizabeth Warren, who's one of the people on the committee that is voting for him to be accepted or not. But a really important thing happened last night. So there's been a whole inquiry by the federal government into Jerome Powell and his what they are calling criminal activity for the money that he spent in upgrading the Federal Reserve building. And a lot of the people in Congress said, we're not going to pass this vote on the new person while you guys are still trying to go after the old one, go after Jerome Powell. Well, that inquiry was dropped last night. So that paves the way for the new chairman to jump in. So that should happen in the next month. Now, the new chairman wants to lower interest rates, or at least that's what he's told Trump. But there's a lot of things that have to happen. There's obviously the issues that are going on with the war in Iraq, how that the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz and how that's impacting oil prices, and oil impacts everything. So we're seeing inflationary concerns, but that's kind of become almost the norm now. So it's kind of funny when something is news, everybody freaks out. When it's no longer news and it's kind of, well, we kind of are used to it now, we're not freaking out as much, and interest rates have leveled back down some. We're seeing rates in the low to mid 6s instead of the mid to high 6s. So that's a good move that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. So that's really, really good. One of the things that was announced on Wednesday was that the federal government, the FHFA, said they're now going to use Vantage scores and FICO 10T scores. Okay. Thanks, Zach. So they're doing Vantage scores, and Zach gave me a shout out for happy anniversary. Appreciate that. Vantage scores and FICO 10T scores. What the heck does that mean? It means that right now, and for the last 20 years, the mortgage industry has used the same FICO scoring model that came out in 2004. Okay. There's been a lot of changes to that model. Some of the models now count rental payment history. Some of the models ignore some collections. And they're now ready to start accepting those other models for conventional loans. FHA says they're going to accept them as well. I read that there was $10 million of loans that were funded using these alternative scoring models. Now, that's good news, but it may not be as good news as what we think. Because they also said they're going to adjust the risk assessment that goes to the credit score. Now, I'm going to simplify how this works. Right now, there's a chart, and it says if you're putting 5% down and you have a credit score of 700, this is how much extra you pay in fee for that risk. If your score is 780, you pay less in fee for that risk. If your score is 650, you pay more in fee. Well, we know that each of these scoring models is going to have, some are going to score better than others depending upon circumstances. So they're going to adjust that chart. And so you might say, well, John, you said I needed a 680 credit score in order to qualify for this loan. And if I use this other model, I have a 680. Yeah, but using that other model, you have to have a 700. So are they really fixing the problem? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's not out yet. But the fact that they're saying they're changing the rules on how they look at each loan based on which credit system we pulled said it doesn't solve that problem. The problem that it's actually potentially solving is the cost of credit reports. Now, this is also misleading because the cost of credit reports has skyrocketed. We're literally at the point where if I have a joint application with two people on there, it is over $300 for the total cost of credit. It's stupid. Now, there's an article out right now that says that the FICO systems agreed to lower the cost of credit down to 99 cents. That's because currently they're charging $10. So of the 300, which is for two people, $20 of that is for the cost of the FICO score. So that amount is going down to 99 cents per person. So that saves us $20, $18, because we're saving $9 per person. That's great, but that's a drop in the bucket. So don't think that, oh my gosh, I'm reading these articles that are saying that credit scores are dropping down to 99 cents for mortgages. John, why are you still charging $300? I'm not charging anything, but the $300 is being charged because the credit agency, the three agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, that's where the problem lies. They're the ones that have, and they blame the FICO scoring model because they've increased their prices hundreds of percent. Sure, because they went from $3 to $5 to $7 to $9 to $10. That's significant, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax are collecting for their portion. Then you have the intermediaries. You have companies like Advantage Credit or CoreLogic or Credco, and these companies are the ones that pull the data together from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion and deliver it into a report that the mortgage lender like my company can use. They get a cut of the pie. So the only thing that is dropping is the competition because FICO had a monopoly. They were the only ones that gave a score that could be used for mortgages, and we were using a scoring model that was over 20 years old. So this is good news, but it isn't solving the problem like what it's painted to be. So I just want to make that part really, really clear. All right, so that is the credit scoring model. Now let's move on to my next topic, which is a couple of ways that people can now qualify for mortgages. This one, not going to affect a lot of you, but for those of you who it is going to affect, it's huge. I now have a program that I can qualify you simply based on your assets. Now, this is going to sound crazy to most of you, but it allows you to qualify as long as you have 1.25 times the loan amount in assets. You say, John, I'm looking to borrow $500,000. You're telling me I have to have $625,000 in the bank? If I had that, I'd pay cash. Well, funny you say that. There's a lot of people who do have that kind of money in a retirement account, in a trust account. They don't want to pull it out. They don't want to liquidate their assets. They want to buy a house, and they have $1 million or $1.5 million in retirement accounts and trust assets and other things. And they're like, I'm only buying a $500,000 house. Why are you giving me a hassle about my debt to income ratio? I literally could pull the money out of the bank right now and pay you off. I now can do that. So if you know a financial planner, this is good information to get to them. Realtors, good information to keep in the back of your mind that when somebody complains, my God, I have enough money to pay off this mortgage. Why do they care? Ooh, I'm going to call John King. That's where this program is going to come into play. Here's another program. This one, there's already loan programs out there to help people buy investment properties where all we care about is the rental income on the investment property. But there are times where the property's renting for below market rents, and there's a lot of reasons why that happens, and you don't qualify because there isn't enough rental income to cover what the mortgage payment is. We've got loan programs that basically ignore the rental income altogether. All we care about on rental properties is your credit score, the amount of your down payment, and how much money you have left over after closing. Now, clearly, you're going to get better interest rates if we can get enough rental income documented to cover the mortgage payment. So this isn't like oh my God, John, I'm going to get the best rates and you don't care about anything. Everything that comes with more risk comes with more cost. So I want to make sure you guys understand that part. The last thing I'm going to cover today is an interesting article that I just read about builders and what's happening with builders right now, because builders kind of lead the market. And we've seen over the last year a lot of builders slashing prices. For the last 3 years, we've seen builders give significant incentives. And what I'm seeing now, or at least reading in this article, is some of the builders are actually kind of okay with not doing as many transactions right now. And I think that they're kind of realizing, hey, this doesn't end well. If we keep lowering prices in order to attract a buyer, all we're doing is driving ourselves down where we're not going to make any money, and then we lose. And we've lowered the value of the properties in the communities. We've lowered the value of the properties outside of our community. And so builders have started stopping. Builders are pulling back from giving all of these amazing incentives. Now, I'm not speaking about every builder, and I'm not speaking about in every market, but we had seen over the last year, especially, some significant price drops. Over the last 3 years, significant creativity in how they're structuring loans and giving you credits in order to give you really, really good deals on low interest rates, on temporary interest rate buy downs, lots of crazy things. And what I'm reading in this article basically says, hey, look, they're less inclined to give big giveaways. And they're basically okay selling fewer homes for the time being. They believe the market is about to rebound. The builders spend a lot of money on research. They know a lot of people in high places, and they want to make sure that they have a long-standing business model that works. And so when the big companies start moving a certain direction, I listen because they know way more than I do. Now they're guessing, but they have gazillions of dollars to spend on really, really smart people and connections with really, really connected people in order to know things that you and I will never know. And so what this is a sign for me that the market is shifting. It's a sign for me that the builders are saying, hey, I think the buyers are coming back. Whether that means they think interest rates are coming down, I don't know. But it could be. It could be they think that, hey, inventory isn't going to be that big of an issue anymore, and we're going to have more buyers chasing fewer homes. Maybe that's what they're thinking, and so they don't need to worry about creating buyer activity because they think it's coming back. Because otherwise, they'd still be chasing how to get a buyer in the door. Or maybe they've just hit rock bottom on their profitability. Maybe they've gotten to the point where it's like, hey, I can't squeeze any more blood from this rock. And if I lower the prices or give away anything more, I'm literally losing money. Either way, it's kind of a signal. And I like looking for signals. So when I see this in builder activity, it tells me there's something shifting about the market. I don't know for sure what it is, but if I was in the market buying a house, I'd be listening to that. I'd be saying, hey, if builders aren't slashing their prices anymore, if builders aren't giving amazing incentives, then maybe the days of sellers doing so, regular sellers that are just out there selling a home of their own, maybe they're going to become less inclined. Whether that's because they realize the builders aren't doing it, I don't know. Or maybe it's just the conditions of the market are such, the builders are just seeing it earlier. That's more of what I think is happening. So I just want to give you the insight of whatever I can on anything that I see. If you have questions, by the way, always post them into chat. If I'm not live, then I'll catch it later and I'll reply to you. And I want to end with one very important message, which is I am interviewing for the job of being your lender. So if I'm not your lender already, scan this QR code up here, start the process with me, reach out to me and schedule time so we can talk. I want to help guide you. The shift that I've gone over for the last 45 days in our merger from Summit Funding to Cross Country Mortgage has been amazing. Okay, any changes is tough. Learning new systems is tough. Migrating data is tough. So I'm not saying it's been perfect, but the things that impact my buyers, my opportunities to do loans has increased significantly, more than I realized in all the different programs that I have access to. And I'm super, super excited to continue to bring you more information and to guide you. And if you want the right person on your side, you have found him. I'm looking forward to taking great care of you. If you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.